Welcome to CBN Financial's market update for July 15, 2025. I'm your host, and here's what you need to know today to make smarter investment decisions. 1. Market snapshot. U.S. equity markets opened modestly higher following June's inflation data, which matched expectations at 2.7% year-over-year. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq continued grinding higher, with the Nasdaq setting a new all-time closing high thanks largely to a tech rally driven by chipmakers and AI innovators. 2. Key drivers. Inflation and interest rates. June's 2.7% CPI matched expectations, with core inflation at 2.9% still elevated. That's pushing Treasury yields up to around 4.5%, making investors more reluctant to fully price in aggressive Fed rate cuts. Big bank earnings. Citigroup saw Q2 profits surge 25% to $4 billion, riding strong trading revenues. Morgan topped forecasts again, posting $15 billion in net income. Wells Fargo was mixed, with a modest decline in results. 3. Tech and AI-focused Nvidia stock jumped over 4 to 5% on official U.S. approval to resume H2AI chip sales to China. This lifted sentiment across AI play names like AMD, TSMC, and CoreWeave. Nvidia's leadership in AI hardware continues to be a major positive catalyst. 4. Global and trade news. Trump administration announced a new trade deal with Indonesia. Tariffs on Indonesian goods were set at 19%, while U.S. exports will enjoy zero tariffs, a move aiming to ease rising tariff pressure from earlier EU and Mexico threats. However, broader trade tensions persist as the EU prepares $72 billion in retaliatory duties. 5. International markets. UK's 100 briefly broke 9,000 and markets remain supported by strong bank and defense earnings even as rising U.S. inflation tames hopes for early Fed cuts. India's Sensex and Nifty rebounded strongly, fueled by cooling local inflation and gains in autos and pharma sectors. Bottom line and takeaway for investors, U.S. inflation is steady but still above the Fed's comfort level, keeping yields elevated. Bank earnings are strong but cautious guidance may cap financials. Tech and AI remain top growth themes. Investors are pricing in Nvidia's resurgence and renewed optimism from China chip exports. Trade volatility remains a risk factor. Watch diplomacy closely, especially with the EU and Asia partnerships. Global exposure continues to offer diversification value. UK and India markets are showing relative strength. Suggested investor strategy. 1. Tactical overweight in AI, tech especially Nvidia, AMD, AI hardware plays. 2. Watch bond yields follow 10-year Treasury closely, now around 4.5%, as it impacts rate-sensitive sectors. 3. Cautious on banks. They're profitable, but guidance is wary. Consider selective buying on dips. 4. Diversify geographically. Look to non-U.S. markets like UK and India to balance U.S. inflation and policy pressures. This episode is brought to you by CBN Financial and presented by your AI host,